Before I ask a couple of questions, I would just like to make the point that this budget really doesn't make life more affordable. I heard mention that for every dollar we are taking in, we're giving back 95 cents. That's all well and good, but the reality is the person giving the dollar is now going to be operating at a deficit of a nickel. So the budget truly doesn't make life more affordable. My concern, Treasurer, and it's very good to see you again, by the way, is that the entire surplus revenue fund, as it's designated, is being depleted this year. It would appear to me that we're truly in a time of plenty. Revenues at the moment are good, but instead of enhancing our rainy day fund, we're essentially zeroing it out under the governor's proposal. Now that concerns me in that if there's a recession, it would seem to me that we're going to be very much unprepared. We would have been more prepared following the present fiscal year's budget. Would you agree?
I think it's important that we have that surplus built up, whether it's, the rainy day fund or in the surplus of, budget surplus. The budget surplus is serves essentially will serve the same purpose. It provides the cushion and the funds that we could utilize in the event of a downturn.
Was there a policy reason behind removing all of the funds from the rainy day fund and simply allowing there to be a continuing surplus?
Not that I'm aware of.
As I guess what is confusing to me is that the revenue estimates are actually 1.7 billion below the proposed spending. And essentially, the estimated revenue is 47.2 billion, and the proposed spending is 48.9 billion. Somewhat simple math. And we're utilizing our rainy day fund in order to make up the difference. Is that correct?
We're utilizing some surplus. That's part of the one-time revenue that we're utilizing for the budget. Yes.
Yeah, and in doing so, just completely doing away with the concept of the rainy day fund as originally envisioned by your office.
Maybe in the rainy day fund account, but the surplus as proposed would actually be double what was proposed last year.
Do your revenue estimates, do they take into account the possibility of recession?
Yeah, I think we didn't, I think Martin mentioned they did not take into account the possibility of recession, but our 8.6 suggested surplus did. And as I mentioned, to the extent revenues come in even stronger, we should look to further build that.
Okay, and do you expect, Treasurer, that there's going to be a recession in fiscal year 23 or even fiscal year 24?
It's unclear at this point. I think there's, as we've said, a lot of moving pieces out there, so.
I believe, Madam Chair, you opened this hearing by mentioning that it's more important than ever that we put money into our rainy day fund. Your words from about 3 hours ago. And my concern remains, yes, there's money in surplus, but we're depleting the rainy day fund that exists as we sit here today. That I really do see as a concern. And frankly, would be my belief after looking at this budget that we are now, assuming it's adopted as is, $2 billion less prepared for the next recession And in a time of what almost seems to be unprecedented growth, it would appear somewhat irresponsible to be less prepared.
Are you suggesting we put more into the surplus? I mean,
I would suggest that we not eliminate our rainy day fund.
okay.
So,
We're pleased, though, that we have the highest proposed surplus level in, I think, the history of the state. But, so,
okay. I thank you, Treasurer.
all right, thank you.